Hello, gentles and ladymen. I'm Ulan Gaming, and I have a very big announcement today. The Age of Empires 3 companion app that I have been occasionally making videos for and helping Hellpunch as he creates it over the past year or so is finally released as of today. For those of you who have already seen some of my previous videos and already know just about everything about this app, just to save you some time, the link is in the description. For those of you who are looking at this like Age of Empires 3 companion app, allow me to give you a little bit of a tour of the overall app, as well as inform you that the beta testers, including myself and a couple other people, are still a thing, and we will be kind of testing out new features and trying to solve bugs from them before they actually release. We will always have the most up-to-date version, whereas the public release will have the most stable version with all of the completed features. Now, to get into it, at the top here, we have this whole menu here. At the top gives you a current online player count. You can see currently there are 5,755 players, which is a lot higher, actually, on average compared to when we first started, where we had about 3,000 during the highs of the days. But our first tab here brings us to a soundboard that has all of the taunts. So you can go, you can see 25 here, you'd type 25 in game, and
you sit on the computer all day, play, you know nothing of hard life.
It's wonderful. You can use this as a soundboard in real life. That's reason enough to get the app. The maps section has all of the maps in game that are in the game's files, which means there are a couple here that are kind of weird, like Acropolis is not a map that is actually in the game, but it is in the files and it does have a description. Players begin on their own plateau with some resources. Resources are more plentiful in the valley, yet not quite sure exactly what that map actually looks like, since obviously it's not available, but nonetheless it's in the game's files. And then you go down here and you can see there's also the minor civilizations listed on the right, as well as the outlaws. The minor civilizations bring you to their own page, where you can view their units and their upgrades. The outlaws, of course, bring you to their unit page, where you can see all of their units and upgrades. Now, the upgrades section is not exactly ideal, because it will show every single upgrade that can affect them available to every single civilization without really too much organization, but it still exists there, and you can see things like stats, their different attacks in different modes, their line of sight, their movement speed, their HP, all of that jazz is available here. So that is the maps page. In the deck builder, we can pick a civilization, let's say the United States, and we can construct a deck of cards, and then once we are done, we can save said deck. And we will go back to that later, but you can construct decks and save them to your profile, is the important thing. Now the unit page is separated by unit type. Several units belong to several different unit types, obviously, so you'll have multiple appearances. But this is the current artillery tag. You hit the button in the top right to pull a drop-down full of all the various unit types. You can search for what you want, and there is also a search bar at the top, so if I go to light range cavalry and then search for, I don't know, the Keshik, then the Akeshik will appear here. If I'm not mistaken, the Eagle Runner Knight should also appear here. No, the Eagle Runner Knight does not appear here, even though it is, I guess it's not technically ranged cavalry, but, yeah, there it is, right there. And these are all tags according to the in-game files. This is all constructed with the actual in-game information. The counter page is currently, if I'm not mistaken, not entirely built yet and complete. Oh, no, it is. Okay. So from the counter page, you can click anything. It has the exact same filter and search bar that the unit page has, except instead of taking you to the unit page, when you click on something like the heavy cannon here, it will take you to everything that has a multiplier against your specific unit that you have here. Now, this isn't always the best representation of what counters your units, because, for example, things like the heavy cannon, a natural counter would be the hussar, but because the hussar doesn't exactly have a multiplier as much as it is just an effective unit against the heavy cannon, it's not going to appear. Oh wait, no, I stand corrected. I stand corrected. It's not based on it's not based on multipliers. It's based on tags that were put in manually. Okay, so yeah, the hussar, the Cossack, the Spahi, the cuirassier, all the things that counter your heavy cannon are going to be here, and then you can click on the units in here, and depending on your setting. If you have this selected, when you click on the unit that counters your heavy cannon, it'll bring you to that unit's unit page where you can see its stats. Or instead, if you don't want to pull up the profile, so if I select this, right, and I go to counters, heavy cannon, and then I go dragoon here, at the moment, if I have that selected, it will pull up the dragoon's unit info page, right, and I can see all the stats about the dragoon. If I turn that setting off, and then I go to counters, heavy cannon, and then hit dragoon, it'll pull dragoon up in the unit counters page, and I can see all the things that counter the dragoon. And then I can go down the rabbit hole that way. So there are quite a bit, there's a little bit of options, some versatility, depending on what you want to use the app and how you want to use it. But that is the counters page. The explorers page is the unit info tab, but for things with the hero tag. That's literally all it is. The buildings page is pretty similar to the units page, except for buildings. It's really not much, not much more complicated than that. Arsenals, it's got all the things. Civilizations will give a brief overview. This is something that is currently planning to be expanded a little bit later. But at the moment, you hit civilization overview, and you get a summary of the civilization. In the top right, you can see whether or not there is a plus or minus XP curve for home city shipments. USA has normal shipment costs, but Spain has a minus 28% XP for home city shipments just as its civilization bonus. And something like Italy requires 8% extra XP for all their home city shipments. So there is that, and then you can see their various civilization bonuses, their Royal Guard units, their unique buildings, and their starting resources, and all of that jazz. Each crate of food crate of wood represents 100 of that resource. Previously, in an older version, whenever you played, whenever you hit one of these, it actually played the Civilization's theme song that plays at the beginning of every match, but that no longer is a thing that happens. Now, over on the cards, you can search pretty much any card in the game that you wish. Let's say I do Washington's Legion. Okay. Not a good representation of the pill loader, I'm not going to lie. But you can search, I'm pretty sure this is still yet to be complete as well. But it is underway where you can search things like cavalry combat, for example. No? Okay, I can't spell cavalry is why. Yeah, here we go. Cavalry combat. And yeah, you can just pull up a description of the card. This is something that is still under progress, but it is here, at least in some capacity, if you are looking for that kind of thing. The descriptions are not super in detail, but it will tell you exactly what the card is. So there you go. Cheat units is the unit page, but for cheat units, as you might expect. Laser Bear has 106,106 HP. He's got 10,000 line of sight, good god. Yeah. It's the cheat units page. I don't know what else you want from me. The cheats page is a nice little shortcut to help you figure out what cheats that you actually want or need. DivSD is a great cheat. It's just such a convenient one. But if you're ever like, what was that one that gives you like 10,000 coin? You can take a look at this app and be like, oh, it's give me liberty or give me coin. That's the one that gives me 10,000 coin. And then we have event sheets located here as well. Things like Red Pockets, Cranny Nanny, and so on and so forth. So that is currently all that's on the main page. Coming soon, perhaps. These are marked in the things that are yet to come are things like build orders and the resource calculator. But let me see, we have this whole myriad of tabs at the bottom. Here we have a second tab that's all about topics and news and forums. Announcements made on the Age of Empires website, as well as a direct link to the forums so you can see different conversations. And then if you want to add to this conversation, you can just hit the button in the top right, and it will bring you to that exact site on the forums in your browser. Now, on this ladder page here, we can see basically a list of every single person, and we can search anybody up. Yeah, and let's say we hit the heart here to follow General Spades, that is my brother, and then we can go see who we are following, and we can pull up their ranked graph. We can see how many wins and losses and what their win rate is for 1v1 in team in competitive, as well as seeing a graph showing their rise and decline of elo over time. You know, and that's how a lot of this kind of functions. It's a really cool system. Over on the profile page, you can set, so from the ladder page, you can set yourself as your profile. If I go to Corbin Harbor, you click the number right here where your rank number is, and that's how you put your profile on. And then you go over to your profile here, and you can see your win rates and stuff like that. These used to be functional, however, for whatever reason they could no longer be functional. But this used to be a pie chart that showed you some of your civilizations. Perhaps they'll be functional someday again in the future, but at the moment they are not. And then that shitty USA deck that we created earlier, we can now see is located here, so we can edit the deck's name, we can view all the cards in it, and even change the cards in it, and then we can hit this button here to share the deck, and we go over online here, and we can see that these are all the shared decks that people have shared with each other across the board, and you can upvote or downvote them, and things like that. So we can look at this generic deck that somebody made for Malta, and see it's full of cards, and it very clearly doesn't look like 25. It might be 25 cards, actually. I'm not entirely sure. But you can get the gist of how that things work, and then over here is the settings. So that is the overall that is the overall tour of the app. Once again, the link is in the description. It is only for Android at the moment, so iPhone users, go suck a dick. Later, bye.